better than I used to be.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, in honor of Valentine's Day being this past week, we are starting a new series on my channel where we're going to talk about our relationship and how, I guess, like the process and how everything unfolded. So for today's video, we're just going to talk about how we met into how we got together. And then in the next few videos, we'll talk about our courtship / engagement and then our actual marriage and I guess how we are now. So if you guys want to follow us on this journey and learn a little more about us and our relationship, stay tuned for more. Okay, so I guess to give a little backstory about where we were in that season of our lives. So for me,
season basically before we got together, when we first met, we started as friends.
Yes, my bad. So in the season before we got together, I was kind of in just climbing out of a dark place. So my dad died May of 2015, and that whole summer was just like kind of terrible for me, and it spiraled into losing a lot of stuff along with my dad, and I was really stressed out, of course, and just really struggling in my walk and like my emotional state. It was really hard for me. So going back to school in the fall was kind of like a refuge type of thing, because I really just wanted to get out of the situation and leave my hometown and everything. So coming back to school was great for me. In the whole process of that whole summer, I actually ended up losing my car, which is really hard for me for some reason. I mean, it's hard, but it's hard losing a car anyway.
It's like losing independence.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like I was like, I can't even go anywhere now. I'm just stuck. Like I can't do nothing. So I got back to school and I realized, like I don't have a ride to Bible study, church, like anything off campus anymore because I don't have a vehicle. So I think the first Bible study we had on Fridays was coming up, and I was like, all right, I need to find a ride. So I texted one of our mutual friends and I was like, hey, can I ride with you to church or Bible study? And he's like, oh well, my car is full, but why don't you ask Jarrell? And now I had only met Jarrell maybe like a few times before. We didn't really know each other. We said in a past video that we met at like a game night in my apartment, but we barely spoke. So we only had seen each other a couple of times and got baptized on the same day. We didn't really know it. And then this like, oh, you should text him. So I told our friend, I was like, okay, I'll text Jarrell. But I need you to text him and tell him that I'm gonna text him so it doesn't look like sketch. And so I don't know if he did or not. I'm pretty sure he did. But so I text Jarrell and I was like, hey, do you mind if I ride with you to church? And he says, yeah. I remember getting in the car and being kind of nervous because I had never really spent a lot of time with Jarrell. There were a few people in the car that I knew, so it wasn't too bad. And I was able to actually talk to Jarrell, so it was pretty cool because that was our first time really talking to each other and getting to know each other.
Oh, real quick, kind of talk about where I was at this point.
Oh, my bad.
So this is my senior year, so my focus was on graduating and getting out of college. At that point, I kind of like given up on finding a relationship, so I was just like, all right, I was leaving men's Bible study. I was like, I'm leaving Bible study, I'm gonna get my degree, and I'm gonna get out. And I was also like, just enjoying taking people to church, friends, all that. So I wasn't looking for a relationship at this point.
So I guess the Fridays and the Sundays progressed, and we grew kind of a normal group of people who would come with us. Sometimes we had other people, but there was like a normal 3 or 4 of us that would all go with Jarrell.
Yep. And they kind of like formed like a Sunday and Friday friend group where like we would all get up together and go to Friday church, and then Sunday morning we'd go to church and then get off and go to Commons and get brunch basically, or lunch, and hang out sometimes. So
and it was really awesome. It honestly brought a lot of healing for me because it was great to just have people around that I knew, I don't know, that just like they didn't have to do with anything that just happened in that traumatic experience, and I knew they just were there for me and they loved me. So like Jarrell said, it did kind of become like a friendship group, and so we started to have actual game nights, like maybe once a month sometimes, where we would all get together at somebody's apartment and play board games. That's how we really started to get to know each other, was through just group hangout time. I guess in that you get to see how that person reacts, and like you see a little bit more of that person, because I felt like Jarrell really opened up around everyone else a lot more than what I had seen like in the car.
Yeah, so we kind of just did that, having game nights, enjoying that time until around spring break of the next year. So this is 2016 now, and so after spring break, something kind of clicked for me over the course of the game nights. I started to think more started to notice Alexandra more, like, oh wow, she's really cool, she's really funny, she has a similar sense of humor to me, she likes similar things that I do, we just kind of have a good time together. I remember one of the funniest things I remember she did when we were playing games. I think it was, we were playing Sorry, and something happened, and then she like got up, got on her knees, and was just like, Lord, sackcloth and ashes. And I was dying. It was so funny. But,
That's too funny.
but yeah, so I started noticing more, and so I kind of like sought more game nights like that so we could hang out more. But other people didn't have time. Like everyone kept flaking. Like we wanted to do something after church. Everyone was like, well, I have this and I have that. So we were like, all right, fine. So it kind of segued into just us two hanging out, having game nights with just us, or watching a movie or TV show together.
For me, I guess my feelings developed a lot earlier than his did. So I really noticed that I enjoyed talking to him. Like in the car, I really thought he was funny. So and that the guy that already knew, like, that's number one for me. Like if you could make me laugh, you're already kind of in the door. So he always made me like laugh, and we would laugh about a lot of stuff. And I really enjoyed that he was just open to talk. That he was willing to listen to me. So I felt like I was always telling him like stupid stuff. I still do. And I don't know, it was really great. And so like over that time, feelings developed for me. Like I was like, oh, I think I kind of like him, or like I know I like spending time with him. Maybe that means I like him. I was very shy. So I was just kind of like, I'm just gonna low-key spend time with him. And so like every time he wanted to hang out, I was like, I'm there. And if Jarrell's gonna be there, I was gonna be there too.
Now, we actually had a sermon that year. I think that year or somewhere we went. There was a marriage conference or something like that.
Oh.
There was a sermon about like men should seek a wife and women should put themselves in a position to be found. And so Alexandra definitely made herself able to be found. Like she was always available. So yeah, we just kind of did the hanging out every now and then thing for a while, and like a month after spring break, like close to the end of April, we had a big event with all the Christian organizations on campus. And because me and Alexandra were close and we were already riding together and stuff, we kind of worked together on things. So she needed like a ride to the store to get stuff. Like I would take her there. And yeah, we would just hang out at the store and stuff, and that was fun. So like, yeah, once I finally knew that I wanted to pursue her, I kind of like made opportunities for us to be together. Without being weird.
Well, it did weird me out, but not like in a way where I was like, no, stop. Like in a way where I was like, yes, keep going, keep pursuing me. I want to spend time with you. But like honestly, I felt like I was going insane because I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if he likes me. And I was really, really freaking out. And God was probably like, if this girl don't stop talking to me because about this man, because I was always like, well, God, I don't know, I'm so confused, and I was still like really wrestling with a lot of different things. Praise God, he did bring like healing from the stuff with my dad in this whole like season, but I was still working through that, and then this was coming and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel so conflicted and I really like him, but like I don't know what to do and I don't know if he feels the same way. So I was really, really nervous, really confused, and just kind of like, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna keep making sure I'm available. So that's what I did. Like, I just kept saying yes. So it was really cool. Well, one, I really loved what we were doing with all the Christian organizations coming together and doing this one big week of events for for our university in the community there, and so it was really fun to just combine with everybody, but I also got to spend a lot more time with Jarrell, so I was excited about that too.
So like around this time I decided like, all right, if I'm gonna pursue Alexandra, then I'm gonna, if I'm gonna tell her my feelings, then I need to tell someone else first, so I can make sure that, like, I told myself, like, if I can't tell someone else, then I can't tell her, and this isn't gonna work. So I wanted to tell like one of my best friends, because he knew Alex, he was a mutual friend, and so I wanted to tell him first. So I finally told him one night, and we talked about it, and he said, yeah, he kind of agreed that he saw compatibility there, and he thought that was a good idea. And then we kind of talked about the next step would be to talk to our pastor at the church, and kind of get his opinion and his say in that. So that's what I did. I think like a week after, I texted our pastor and tried to set up a date with him. And then we kind of talked about it. Like I said, hey, I'm interested in Alexandra. I think I want to pursue courtship, and I wanted to get like his perspective on that and ways we should go about it, and just get his prayers. And that went well. Like he said he didn't feel like he had any problems with that. Like he knew both of us, and he felt like we'd make a good match. So we prayed together, and he kind of gave me kind of direction on where to go next. And so the next thing I did was I kind of worked out a day to ask her out, like to ask her out to a dinner, so there'd be no excuse for her to think that this is us just being friends.
Another thing we missed was when you took me up to get to church, because I had forgotten my check, and I remember like at first I felt like really nervous asking him to do it, but he was like he was just gladly like yeah. So we went. It was really cool. Jumped in, grabbed my stuff, and then he was like, do you want to grab dinner? Or no, you text me that like the day before. You're like, hey, I want to grab dinner afterwards, and don't worry about like paying or whatever. And I was like, what in the world? So we went and grabbed dinner, but I remember after that really feeling like, oh my gosh, like I really, really like him, and I want to tell him how I feel, but like I can't tell him how I feel. So I texted him like a message that basically said, I think you're a really, really great friend. Like I really appreciate everything that you do for me. But that was like my secret code way of saying I liked you, and I really wanted him to get that that's what I was saying, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, I took it the exact opposite way. I heard I really like you as a friend, I really appreciate you. I was like, oh, okay, cool. She recognizes that I have feelings for her. She's letting me know that she doesn't feel the same way.
No.
We're just friends. So that almost discouraged me, but I wanted to make sure I was sure.
I'm so glad you kept going, because I almost ruined it for myself. Also around this time, I was talking to a lot of my, well not a lot, there was like a few select friends I was talking to about this situation, and one of them, like, I think of her as like my older sister. I love her so much. So I would go to her office and talk to her about it. This was probably the week before he asked me out, or the day before actually he asked me out. I went to her office because like I really just couldn't deal with it, because like this was the week after he spent all day with me. I was just like, I don't understand, I don't know where we stand, and I feel like a complete wreck. Like I cannot focus because I'm thinking about this all the time. And so I went and I talked to her about it, and she was just like, look sis, like he's either your husband and you're gonna get married tomorrow, or he's your brother, so you've got to figure this out. And I left that conversation feeling like I don't want to lose our friendship because I think of more of this, and this is not really what the situation was. And so I left that conversation feeling like, dang, like I probably can't talk to Jarrell anymore. Like, we can't hang out nearly as much as we used to, and I probably should distance myself from him. And I remember feeling like just really, really sad. So that's where my heart was the day before he asked me out.
Yeah. So we, after one of our usual times hanging out at church, I kind of.
The next day.
Yeah, the next day. I kind of, as I was leaving, I was like, "Hey, do you want to hang out on Sunday?" Actually, she wanted to go out to dinner on Sunday, just the two of us, to kind of make sure that she knew it was a date. And she was just like, "Yeah, sure." So I was like, "Okay, well, bye." And then like when I got home, I called her to let her know I got home. But then I also said like,
he was like intentional about saying, you said. And I mean, we're going out to dinner, just you and me. That's what you said. Oh, okay. And I was still.
Yeah,
go ahead.
She was just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, that sounds fun.
So I'm like, okay, I guess she gets it.
I did not. So yeah, he ends up asking me out that night. I said, yeah, sure, sounds fun, because I was nervous and I didn't want to hype it up to more than it was. Like, honestly, after those conversations with my friends, I was like, look, I'm not going to make this out to anything that it isn't. He's going to tell me what this is. And so I was really just like, I was rationalizing the mess out of it. I was like, okay, maybe he just wants to go out to dinner with just me because we're really good friends and we like to hang out. So yeah, maybe that's just the reason, and I was trying to stick with that.
They fast forward to us going out. So we went out, and the entire time at dinner, I'm like staring at her. I'm like, I know I have to say that I have feelings for her and I want to start a relationship, but I couldn't bring myself to say it. So my plan was to say it at dinner, but I brought a movie to go watch afterwards, just in case we need something else to do after the dinner. So we sit at dinner. I never say it. So
and he's like intently staring at me. Like, sometimes we're in mid conversation and he's like.
And then so then we get back and we start watching the movie, and we get through the entire movie, and then like we're about to start another movie, and then I'm like. I think it's pretty obvious, but I just want to let you know I like you. And then she was just like, yeah, I like you too.
I said, yeah, I know. And I like you too.
And then we're just like, all right, so now what? And then so we were like, because we were like, so should we start like kind of?
You asked me if I wanted to start a courtship.
Oh yeah. I said, did you want to start a relationship?
I didn't even look at you.
Yeah, we're sitting separate from each other, just like, yeah,
I was like looking over here.
So we're just like, all right, I guess we're together now. And that was that.
Well, for me, like when the dinner was over and he didn't say anything, I was like, aw, like he didn't say anything. I guess we're just friends. And so he says what he said. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that I like you. And so yeah, I'm like, like it was really like a sigh of relief. I was like, I knew it! I knew he liked me and I like you too! But I played it cool the whole time. Like, honestly, it was just me trying to be something I'm not. I should have been a nervous wreck. I was really trying to just be calm about it because I was really freaking out on the inside. And I was really excited because it was such a sigh of relief because we had been doing this dance for quite a while. And I also just really liked him, and I was so happy that he liked me too. So yeah, that was a great day.
And that's how our relationship got started.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want to talk about a few things. So some things I felt like were important in starting a courtship was both of us getting other people involved and talking about it, and not just being left alone with our thoughts, but like getting other people's opinions on what this could look like. And then even after we were together, we were still letting people in on our relationship and letting them know how it was going, and just getting people's insight and just having other people check to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Like for me, I was going crazy and I wasn't really talking to anybody because I had experiences where I had jumped the gun and thought a guy liked me and they didn't, and it ruined our friendship. And so like that's why that conversation with my friend meant so much, because I had made that mistake before, and what all my friends were saying to me meant so much. Like, really do wait and let the guy set the tone for what it is, because if you jump the gun, like you never know what could happen, and that's your brother in Christ. Like, you don't want to lose that relationship, so you should just tread lightly and just kind of let it go with the flow. And I'm always telling people now, like, just be friends, just be their friend, and you never know where God will take it. Because that's how we started. Like, we were just friends. Like, even though my feelings developed earlier than yours, like, I was really just kind of being his friend and hanging out, and that's how we got together, because like we spent so much time together, we talked a lot, and we really just enjoyed each other's company. So yeah, that I think that's important too, just taking it slow and kind of like protecting the relationship you have already, so that in case something doesn't happen in the future, you still have that relationship as well. So yeah.
Yep. So that is the story of how we started our relationship.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please stay tuned for our other 2 videos in this series. They should be coming one every month, so there'll be one next month in March and then one in April. And April's our anniversary of when we first started dating. April 24th. Jordan would ask me on his birthday.
So that's the day before.
So yeah, I just hope that you guys really enjoyed this video.
Bye!
Stop!
Bye!
I know! I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Better than I used to be.